What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Hope you're not bored out of your freaking mind with this Bitcoin price chart. Nothing happening. Why is this? Well, in my personal opinion, I think it's because there is just so much that everyone is waiting to see what happens this week, right? We have SBF apparently testifying at the Senate hearing tomorrow. That's what, they're saying is supposed to happen. Then, of course, that's followed by the CPI data report. Then we have the FOMC meeting. We're also hearing these rumors that maybe the SEC Ripple case could come to some kind of a conclusion on the 15th, although really the only source is pretty much Charles Hoskinson coming out saying he heard something about something, right? So I think a lot of that uncertainty is why we're not really seeing anything in the charts. Now, if you were to say, oh, well, it's, negative sentiment, well, then how come we haven't seen more of a dump at this point, right? That's what I kind of want to talk about. I want to talk about, obviously, why this week is going to be huge. The big question that everyone's asking is there actually going to be this, final ultimate capitulation, 50% crash, fake out, dump, or maybe, something like that. But I also want to talk about why a $10,000 Bitcoin might actually not be the maximum pain. And the reason why I'm saying this might actually surprise you. It's not necessarily that we have to go lower, but something else that could happen. And you guys might be familiar with the Bitcoin, crypto billionaire Arthur Hayes. He was the co-founder of BitMEX. He actually came out recently and provided a pretty interesting argument as to why he thinks that the bottom could be very close or even already in. Now, he's a crypto veteran. He's been in this space long before I even was interested in Bitcoin. So I do like to listen to what some of these guys who have been around for a while do have to say. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. And one other thing, there is more evidence of corruption in the space. So let's dive in. Let's have a look super quick, guys. Lots of things to cover. Now, not too much really in the charts. The one thing I don't really like here on the 4 hour, you could see that we were being held very nicely by, this level right here. And currently you can see that we're kind of below it right now. You can see we sort of fell out of this move. However, keep in mind, this is only on the 4 hour, so it's not really that significant because as I said, we are still in this flag formation. So there is the possibility, we could always come down here and retest the heart line, which is sitting really right around that $16,500 level. We could be looking for a bounce there, right? And I am still anticipating that we would have some form of a breakout to the upside, especially after having this many breakouts to the downside. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, are the Bears really going to get a fifth dump perfectly off of a flag? I think it might just be a little bit too easy, in my opinion. Anything can happen. We have retested the basis line right here, the center line of this Bollinger Band setup, and we do know that, you want to be careful because, for example, right here, where we started touching on the bottom, we had these bands very, very, very close, and what did we have? Crazy breakout to the downside, right? But as I said, 5 times in a row, I would be quite surprised to see that. I do think that markets are kind of waiting for that confirmation. Honestly, I think if the CPI data is even kind of close to where we're expecting, and also we have 50 basis points, I think you're going to see Bitcoin make a run up to the upside. And what we really want to watch too is the DXY. We want to see the DXY continue to break down, and we do want to find that resistance below this blue zone. You can see right here, if I zoom in, we are attempting, let me put it on the daily, maybe you guys could see it even quicker. We did kind of go back into this area, right? We did attempt to, but we were faked out and came back outside of it. So hopefully we will continue to see the DXY moving to the downside, which will be good for things like Bitcoin. Now, just to point out where Bitcoin is historically, and I understand that, it's different this time. I get all that, guys. I understand the macro environment, but I just want to show you that right now, we are literally sitting at the most opportunistic, best historical dollar cost averaging, whatever you want to call it, spot for Bitcoin. And just to point out what we've seen in the past right here, you could see Bitcoin was falling in this, it was pretty much a perfect parallel channel, which was defining the entire bear market. Once we lost this structure right here, we had that 50% dump, right? You can see right here, Bitcoin fell around 50%. Once we fell 15%, we had a very boring sideways chop, right? And as soon as we broke back above this downward downward sloping trend, that was when the bull market started. And just to point out, this legacy trend, which has had this touch here, multiple touches here, we dipped below it once during COVID, but we did come back above it. And that is exactly where we're sitting right now. We're sitting perfectly on that line. So if we kind of have a look, similarly to what was happening in the past right here, we've had that, we've had the channel, right? Also, you could see right here around that $30,000 to $28,000 area, we were building the base the same way we were building this base back here, right? You guys could see this was the base, right? And if you look at from where we fell from here to the bottom, you could see that is about 50%, right? So we've already had that 50% drop off of the bottom, and we are sitting at this legacy trend. Now, let's just assume that we do have another black swan event, right? Something like we had here. Well, what did we have back here during the COVID crash? Well, once we fell below this level, this was crazy. Bitcoin actually fell about 25%, right? Only to then be bought back up and never close below it. So let's just for fun, let's just assume that Bitcoin has a 25% crash from this level right here. Where would that bring us down to? That would bring us down to about $12,000, which interestingly enough, you could see here on the weekly, we do have a lot of interest. More specifically, the monthly is around that 13,800. But look at all that interest here, all that interest here, and all that interest right around here, right? So I'm not saying that we can't have another quick dump to the downside, but what I do think would happen was I think we would have something back here where we have a 25% dump, and then you just see that massive, massive volume come right back in. And then basically what we end up doing is something like this, where we literally fake everyone out. We come down here, we retest this trend, and then boom, we're right back up here. And then we continue. And sometime probably around maybe, let's say like April of next year, we actually start to have that breakout, and then we start continuing to the upside. And then keep in mind, people are just, we're going sideways for a while. So that kind of brings me to what Mags was saying. And he was saying that $10,000 Bitcoin to $14,000 Bitcoin won't be max pain for the majority because people are prepared for it. A lot of people are anticipating Bitcoin to go to these lower levels. Max pain would be Bitcoin just going sideways in like a $500 range for months, boring people out of the market, right? People thinking it's over, no one's coming in, no one's buying, it's just going sideways. And that is usually what does tend to happen around the ends at, the middle to the end of the bear market, right? And that's where people sort of walk away and assume that it's dead. And he also says most people are going to end up eroding large portions of their capital by over trading, a plus or minus 2% flat range, which is true. The problem is when you're looking to trade, you kind of want to wait for those trades to come to you. And if you're trying to chase them in a sideways chop, you're probably just going to end up getting chopped up all over the place, right? Unless you're doing some super high leverage scalps or something like that, which you do have to be careful. Which, by the way, guys, this bonus is only, I think they're only doing this for like another week. So even if you're not trading right now, if you guys do want to sign up and get the $18,000 bonus anyway, make sure that you check out the BitGet link below. Or if you sign up, you could just enter the code NYNL. And that will also give you the same exact bonuses. But obviously, that $10,000 bonus is very specific, to Crypto Zombie. So if you guys want, check out the tutorial. Bonuses above as well. And obviously, once the trading does get a little bit better, then we'll be able to do it. But make sure you take advantage of those bonuses now, because they may not be available in a week or so. But anyway, let's talk about BitMEX founder Arthur Hayes and why he's looking at the possibility that Bitcoin may have already printed a bear market bottom, right? Now, understandably, a lot of players have really already been washed out in the space. So he's looking at centralized firms, and he says that these institutions have likely unloaded most of their Bitcoin, right? We know that FTX didn't even have any on their balance, right? And what they did have, they clearly offloaded. He already talks about Alameda and 3AC. What are you going to do when you have to get money fast? You're going to offload the most liquid coins or tokens, right? What are the most liquid? Obviously, higher coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have the most liquidity. So we saw that in both the form of real Bitcoin as well as wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped Ethereum to both decentralized and centralized exchanges. And he noted that the majority of this Bitcoin sell-off was during the situations that these guys were happening, and it coincided perfectly with the crash of the price. He says, I can't I can't prove that all Bitcoin held by these failed institutions was sold during the multiple crashes, but it does look as if they tried their best to liquidate the most liquid crypto collateral they could right before they went under. The centralized lending firms and all large trading firms already sold most of their Bitcoin. All that is left now are illiquid shitcoins, private stakes in crypto companies, and locked pre-sale tokens. As for the Bitcoin miners, they have been net selling their Bitcoin since the first credit crunch in June. They must do this in an attempt to stay current on their big fiat debt loads, and if they don't have debt, they still need to pay electric bills, etc. But another thing that he points out is the all-time high in the open interest, which also coincided with the high of Bitcoin. The open interest plunged as the market fell, suggesting that most of the speculators were wiped out. So you can see we've had all the miners that couldn't produce, that couldn't stay afloat, they've shut down. We have most of the big firms pretty much completely out of Bitcoin, they've shut down. You're seeing the open interest drop, and most of the speculators, the people who were just here to make a quick buck or just kind of speculate on the price, they're all out, right? All like the people that were buying these shit coins and lost 99%, a lot of them are out right now. Taking a look at the sum of the open interest across all the exchanges and derivatives, he points out that the open interest is now back to levels not seen since early 2021. He concluded by saying he's not 100% certain whether Bitcoin's current bear market low around 15.9 is the absolute bottom, but he says that Bitcoin bounced from that level due to the cessation of forced selling brought on by credit contraction. So ultimately, basically at this point, if we were going to go much lower, it probably would have already happened, right? And a lot of the guys that are going to be putting a lot of the selling pressure on the market have already been pushed out, right? But it does leave us one possibility still. And I'm trying to take both sides of the equation here. We still have the situation with Grayscale and Genesis, and we don't know how that's going to end, right? We don't know if Genesis is going to go under, and we don't know if they go under, will that affect the digital currency group, which in turn would affect Grayscale, because Grayscale is now at a negative 48.6% discount, almost a 50% discount, and some people are afraid that this discount might trigger a sell-off. One of the primary reasons for its concern is the fact that the sister company Genesis halted withdrawals and loans following the collapse of FTX, right? Now, Satoshi Stacker, who I actually had an opportunity to meet him out in Dubai, really cool guy in person. He doesn't show his face, but he is a cool guy. Anyway, so he was talking about, what could maybe prevent, them from dissolving the fund, paying out the US dollar value to every Grayscale Bitcoin holder, and then dumping the Bitcoin and therefore pocketing $6 billion, right? So that's what a lot of people are fearing. Shout out to the community for commenting on this. So you have mining saying, what's preventing their CEO, directors, and employees from buying their shares at a 50% price discount, right? The lawful way, like others alike with companies that have been run by them. So, in one hand, people are saying, well, why wouldn't they, why would they dump? Well, that's if something happened with Genesis, right? If they had no choice, they had to liquidate, but they could also be buying the discount. But, like Mick Mad Maximalist says, because when you dissolve it, you pay the Bitcoin price in USD, not the price of GBTC shares. There is nothing to pocket. You just lose value as a sponsor. So it kind of seems like if they were to do this, it wouldn't really help. It would cause more damage to the space, and they wouldn't really benefit from it that much, right? The other thing too is, let's not forget that Grayscale has also been pushing, for this ETF that's physically backed. And they're saying that, this is a big problem, that if the SEC would just approve it, then we would have a lot better scenarios for Bitcoin. So in a 73-page response, the SEC argued that its rejection was reasonably explained and supported by substantial evidence, right? They obviously rejected this, and they were going on to say that it's hard for surveillance, the Bitcoin spot market is fragmented and unregulated, and petitioner present no supportable basis to conclude that the CME's surveillance of future trading would sufficiently detect and deter fraud and manipulation targeting the Bitcoin spot market, although Gary Gensler was meeting with FTX, couldn't spot that fraud, right? But the thing that I did like at the end of this, there's like a sort of like a positive. The SEC said that its disapproval of Grayscale's proposed ETF did not reflect an impermissible merits-based skepticism of Bitcoin as an investment. So they did not approve the ETF physically backed because they said that there wasn't enough resources to really spot, manipulation and these other wrongdoings. But they're not saying that they're not doing it because they don't think that Bitcoin is a bad investment. They're not saying that. They're not saying they want to, get rid of Bitcoin, ban Bitcoin. They're not saying that people should not invest in Bitcoin. They're just worried about people gaining exposure to Bitcoin in manipulation. But let's be honest, they're manipulating everything anyway. But I just thought that was kind of awesome. But nevertheless, guys, crypto sentiment is down. For example, they did a poll this year, and about 21% of Americans feel comfortable investing in cryptocurrency, whereas this number was around 35% last year. The biggest fall was actually in millennials. Last year, 50%, meaning half of millennials, said that they were about comfortable investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, whereas only about 30% are comfortable this year. And obviously, there was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of people thinking they were going to get rich quick. And there were a lot of shit coins, altcoins, scams, rug pulls. Let's be honest, people don't want to invest in Bitcoin because they're like, oh, well, what's Bitcoin going to do? A 5X, a 10X? I want a 100X. I want a 1,000X. I want a million X, right? Well, bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But also the bigger the risk, the bigger the risk, right? So James Royal, principal reporter at Bankrate, said traders of any assets are fair weather friends, and with major crypto sell-offs such as Bitcoin and Ethereum down 70%, it's little wonder that the shine has come off of these coins, right? Also, we have the fear of, for example, what we saw with Terra Luna and the stable coins. Stable coins is something that I do believe at some point is going to be regulated. It should be regulated if we're going to gain that trust. Because, we don't need to trust Bitcoin. You can verify Bitcoin. You can go on the blockchain. You can verify it, right? Tether, USDC, stable coins, can they really be verified? Some have collateral like DAI, but, does Tether really have a one-to-one backing? Does Circle really have a one-to-one backing? These are the things that scare people. And Tron, their USDD just actually fell slightly below 97 cents, which really, it's not a big deal personally. People they freak out over this stuff. I've seen Tether fall to like 70 cents a few years back. So, it happens sometimes. But, nevertheless, the trust in the space really has deterred people. This just came out the other day from DB. So you have the CEO, Michael McCaffrey of The Block, has resigned after failing to disclose a series of loans from SPF's Alameda Research. He was the only person with knowledge of the funding at the company. So this is another thing too, right? So a big thing lately on, my channel and in crypto has been don't, trust the mainstream media, don't feed into the narratives. And now we're getting these pieces and realizing that, The Block, which really had a very good reputation for being a trusted source of information, we're now finding out was being also funded by SBF as well. You could see right over here, Autism Capital confirmed that Frank and Larry, most likely they're the other two guys, were not aware of this. But unfortunately, you did have this money, being funneled in the background. And, you could see right here, Mike Dudas, Block founder, has been deleting tweets. FTX is solvent. CZ will inevitably knife you. Tale as old as time. Sam is a legend. My God. And now he's deleting all these, obviously, because, people are looking into what's going on. So, we do need to clean up the space. There is sort of a lack of trust in the space. But I think that, people are realizing that it is happening slowly. And, as I showed you with Willy Woo the other day, you may need some of these bigger guys waiting for the regulation, but some of these high net worth individuals, they're looking right now. They're smelling the blood in the streets, and they know that this is a good opportunity for accumulation. And they also realize that a lot of the bigger risks, maybe with the exception of, Digital Currency Group and Genesis, but really beyond that, what else is there? What's Binance going to go under? Could, possibly, I doubt it. But, you never know. And the other thing, I just wanted to end actually on the SPX, S&P 500 really quick. Now, of course, you could say, maybe we come down to this trend, right? And that would be another 25% drop. That is possible, right? That is possible. However, it does look like we are attempting to maintain up here. You could see that these past three, this time right here, major rejection, multiple weekly red candles, right? We only had one, and so far, it seems like we're attempting to start the week off with a green candle. And I just wanted to point out what Game of Trades, and this is obviously for traditional stocks, the SPF, but he mentioned that you don't want to miss this. Whenever this metric crosses below 3,000 and turns up, the market has bottomed ever since 2010. So this is the rolling 6-month sum of Wall Street analyst S&P target price and EPS change. And you can see right here, every time we started, the lows were in, the lows were in. Are the lows in again? I don't know. It's a little bit different this time, right? Some people say this was a secular bull run, and now, we're having that bear market. So it could be, right? Things are different, but just wanted to point that out. And of course, guys, friendly reminder, if you haven't checked out the Ledger Stacks yet, I think this is going to be totally a game changer for cryptocurrency cold storage. You can pre-order this. I don't know if they're still doing the NFTs anymore. I don't see it. They were giving away NFTs with each one of these purchases. This will be delivered by the end of March, but if you guys are interested and you want to, help support the channel, I do have links below for that. And I do have a tutorial about to pop up very soon in a minute, but thank you so much again for coming back. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. We have to see how this week plays out. It's going to be a very big week for Bitcoin. Let me know what you think below in the comments. Let me know, are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you excited? Do you think we're going to see the rally with the 50 basis points? Do you think CPI is going to come in hot? What do you think is going to happen with Sam? Do you think the Ripple case is going to end up closing? And, also we do have that Bybit KYC coming up on the 15th as well. So lots of things happening this week. I love you guys. You're awesome. Hopefully we're going to start getting some crazy price action soon. I think a lot of people are waiting to see what happens this week. I do think we're due for some volatility because, we didn't really see any pumps really in this downtrend as big as we did in the previous one. So I would say we're probably due for one. That's it for me. Thank you for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. Make sure if you are looking to trade, take advantage of this bonus happening right now and check out the tutorials popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.